Beautiful babes. How are you all going? It's a pretty rainy day now in Melbourne. I've come home to do this so that I can then go off to the doctor to get my stitches out. This time last week, I was slicing my finger open. Hey, Claire. So there's some pretty... there's some big energies happening at the moment, and I was just talking to a friend of mine about what seems to be kind of coming up for a lot of us is there's heaps of frustration or rage or anger that's coming external to a lot of the people that are working in the spiritual industry or that are doing the kind of ascension work. It doesn't mean when you do ascension work or you do your healing work that you're any better than anyone else. It just means that in this lifetime you have chosen to do it. So just kind of park that in the back of your head for a bit. I'm using the Threads of Fate cards today. It's hard to see with the reflection. And I'm going to pull 3 cards, and then we're going to do some meditation. And it's quite hard for me to shuffle with my current finger situation, so that's why you can hear me dropping the cards. How's everyone? How are you all feeling? I know that last week was a bit of an anxious week. I know I experienced that. Did anyone else feel those feelings? Love this little lunchtime hang gang. First card. Yeah. Second card. Oh my God. You can't make this shit up. All right. So the underlying message this week is of big change. We're going through change. We're shedding, we're like a snake or a reptile. We're shedding the skin and we're letting go of this the old energy. Anxious last week. Yeah. So we're in Scorpio season. So Scorpio is the idea of Scorpio season is that we are acknowledging that shadow part of ourselves, that part of ourselves that we don't necessarily want to acknowledge, and it comes out in front of people, or it comes out in our life, and we then feel anxious or nervous because we don't want people to either know about it or to judge us. But before anyone even gets a chance to judge us, we're already judging ourselves. So the last week, how I mentioned in my Instagram post this morning, the Earth's energetic body went through a big shift, and we are now experiencing more light coming to us, more of the sun's rays actually hitting our skin. Hey, last 2 days, big anxious. Yeah. So what is happening is that the shadow side of us, or the side that we may not have necessarily been working on, is coming up to be viewed by us, by others, by the world. And the reason that it's coming up is because we only have 2 months left of this decade to go. So you're going to clear it. You're literally clearing out the junk so that in 2020 you can start nice and fresh. So last week for me, and heaps of people are talking about how they were, totally feeling anxious and self-judgment. Matt, that was so what I was feeling last week. On Wednesday, I had a 4-hour anxiety attack. And I couldn't get myself to kind of bring my energy back down again, or even if I said, if this energy is not my own, I release it now, all of that kind of stuff, which was what we would usually do, it wouldn't work for me. So I had a healing on Friday, and now I feel good. Not to say that Saturday night or last night I didn't have a few moments of, but then now I feel like I've got the tools to, because I've had that energetic shift, I've had the help from a healing to be able to recalibrate myself. So we'll go through the cards and we're going to do a meditation. Now, the first card, they're so perfect, is Sacred Destruction. So I don't know, my lighting is not so good. I need to get a lamp on my desk here so the lighting is a bit better. But this is also similar to the Tower card, where things are burning down around you. Well, it feels like things are burning down around you, but it's actually you're the phoenix. You're rising from the ashes. I had a vision on Friday night where I was standing in this open field and everything was burning around me, except I was just on this kind of small patch of grass, and it was all just, pouring and pouring. Everything was just going, like falling away. And I feel like that is what's happening for all of us. We're going through a sacred destruction so that in order for us to be able to move forward into what we need to do. You can think of a book or a movie of someone who has gone through like some kind of hero's journey. I often use the example of The Mists of Avalon, Morgane, and because I feel really close to her. I'm reading a book at the moment called A Small History of Witches, and every different like chapter of the book is about a different witch. And then I was watching some crappy TV shows, American TV shows over the weekend that was also talking about the destruction of the patriarchy and now that we're all stepping into our truth as women. The energetic shift of this collective of people that is going through this big change is actually shifting the energy of the planet we are on. The more work that we do, the more that we tap into this intuitive ability that we have, or this goddess energy, or this memories of Avalon, or the Akashic records, any of that kind of stuff. The more that you tap into that, the more sacred destruction you have, the more chance you have, or the ability you have to clear away the old so that the new can start. So this week, the first message is, how are you going to grow? How are you going to let go? How are you going to move forward and embrace those shadows of you, the things that you don't necessarily like about yourself? So many people come to see intuitives or healers because they want to like better something in themselves, but they'll go to the healer asking for advice on something, and they're not willing to realize that maybe sometimes they're the toxic person. I'm not saying that you guys are being toxic, or that we're all being toxic, but I want you to be aware that sometimes you might not be your own best friend. You might have moved on to something too quickly, or you may have not allowed yourself to feel the emotions of a situation, so now it's coming back to bite you in the ass. When I began my business, I was in a long-term relationship, and I also had a major ankle surgery. And what happened was the surgery just went to shit, basically. I had heaps of complications, but I forever was trying to force myself to go back to work, because I'd done all this study where the belief was, if I believe I'm okay, I'll be okay. And what I didn't learn from that situation was, or what I was essentially forced to learn in the end was, it's okay if I'm not okay. And if I'm not okay, what can I do to get through this? And part of the learning of not being okay and the acceptance of not being okay was the self-acceptance of what the situation was and where I was at the moment. So in this sacred destruction, how can you accept that, yes, you may have got yourself into a situation that doesn't now feel good, or you have allowed to say, you've said yes for too long when you've wanted to say no, or you haven't listened to your body and you're pushing yourself. What is the big thing that you need to let go of this week, but also in the next 2 months? Tap away at it, chip away. You don't have to do it all in one big go. So this week is about allowing yourself to just breathe and move forward, because the next card is the Alchemist. When we allow ourselves to let go of all the other stuff, our real magic and beauty comes into play. I like how the lights just changed. We allow ourselves to see the truth of who we are and what we can bring to the world. So where are you stopping yourself? Where are you not expressing your voice? Where are you playing it safe? What do you need to do to move out of the situation you've got yourself into. And how can you do that without self-judgment? You don't need to judge yourself for getting into a situation. That doesn't actually help the situation. It's about taking action. So we're all like in our 30s plus, or around like late 20s, 30s plus. There's got to be some situation in our lives where we're fucked up with money. I know that I've done it. So if that is the thing that you're working through at the moment, know that you are in a group of people that also have spent money or have not saved money or have not done the right things with money. Like, everyone goes through that kind of stuff. If you are in a relationship that you thought was going to be the relationship that you were going to be in for the rest of your life, but now you're scared, like it doesn't feel right, and you need to have a conversation with that person that you're in the relationship with, then do yourself the gift of speaking your truth and have a conversation with that person. If you're in a job that doesn't feel like right anymore, work out ways that you can move yourself in a different direction so that you can heal that part of you. They're all real human experiences, but when we move through those human experiences, we clear all the energetic stuff as well. Do you not have a morning ritual? When was the last time you put yourself really first? Do you forget to eat? I forget to eat because I'm like going from thing to thing to thing. I don't allocate time for food. So I'm so proud that when I got home today, I quickly had something to eat. You know, so where are those little tweaks that you need to work? Because that is that's part of rebirth. The third card, he's like literally pouring here. I love that it's pouring while we're doing this, is boundaries. Don't allow other people's energy to tap in or step into your energy if it's not going to make you feel good. Protect yourself. Call in Archangel Michael. As we move into the holiday party season, if you don't want to go to that function, you don't have to. If someone asks you about a relationship, you know, if Uncle Philip, or no, my uncle's name is Philip, so I probably shouldn't say that. But, you know, if an uncle or an auntie is asking you personal stuff that you don't want to talk about, just tell them. This is the year that you are allowing yourself to draw a line in the sand and not step back into old habits or live in the energy or the vibration that doesn't suit you or feel good for you. Be brave in your pursuit to get what you want, to get what your heart wants. On Saturday night, when the moon moved into Capricorn, I think it was like 10 o'clock, and I'd been watching the new Queer Eye in Japan. So my family had been over for dinner, and then I just hopped back into bed because I was the rain makes my legs ache. And I was watching Queer Eye, and about 10 o'clock, I just had this surge of Capricorn energy about planning what was going to happen next year in the business and in my life. And by having that plan out in front, there are things that I'm going to have to say no to, or things that I'm going to have to remove myself from, and all that kind of stuff. So what is it that you need to do in order to get the life like planning thing that you need? Is it that we need to have some time online together where we do some brainstorming, like a webinars? If you know, do you need to learn how to plan out your life and do goal setting? I'm happy to facilitate that if it's something that what people want. If they need a bit of assistance, or if you need a healing, you know, I've opened my books up until the end of the year. Any of that kind of stuff. So as we move into 2020, it's like we're actually closing off some old part of our lives, and we need to be brave. They're saying we need to be brave in the pursuit of moving towards what really feels right for us. If you feel like you don't know, then use these next 2 months to sit in solitude whenever you can, to ask. use these next 2 months to begin a morning practice or a journaling practice or a yoga practice, or allowing yourself the time to actually hear really what your heart is saying. And it could be hard because we're moving into this time when life gets a little bit busier. So it means that we need it even more. They want me to pull another card. Does anyone have any questions? All right, one more card. The Sage. So when I look at this, it makes me feel like, and I love that Silvana just got logged on as soon as I said this, because this is totally you. All of you have this innate magic in you, and the more that you don't follow that magic or that dream or that niggle, that pull, the longer that you continue to do that, the more painful it will be, your life will be. When you follow things or you behave in certain ways or you move into certain lifestyles or patterns that are not aligned with the truth of your soul, the more it will become uncomfortable. So you don't have to do this. You don't have to push yourself and make it difficult for you to move into that happy space or that space of what makes you feel good. All you have to do is do it really like little bits at a time. So what do you need to do? What's the first thing that you need to do? It might be that you need to do some planning, so then you've got a bit of a structure, or it might be that you need to go and have a healing, or it might be that you need to delete your Instagram account. You'll know when you allow yourself the moment to actually hear what your truth is saying. So as you grow, as we move into the end of the year, what is it that you feel is the most important thing for you to change up? What's the most important thing for you to do to move through in your sacred destruction of things that don't suit you in your life anymore? Yes, good cards. Bit of work, but fun times. So we're going to do some meditation. We're going to, I just looked at my phone and I've got all these messages. I'd put it on Do Not Disturb. I shouldn't have looked at it. Okay. So let's take a really big deep breath. And when you're ready, we're going to close our eyes. And if you're in Melbourne or where there is rain, just turn that rain noise up. And if you're not, just visualize that noise, that rain noise, and turn it up so it's loud in your ears. And I want you to see yourself in a field. In the distance is a shack and your home. And you are ploughing the vegetables. You are digging and pruning the weeds, and you have water in a can that is placed on a small wooden trolley. And the sun is warm on your back, but not too hot. You feel joyful digging and cleaning up this produce. It is your livelihood. And close by there are two dogs, and they're running around and yapping at each other, and The energy and the joy from their playtime makes you feel joyful also. As they run and tumble, you try and stop them from rolling around in your vegetables, but know that there's no real point in trying to stop them. This energy is infectious. Rubbing your forehead with the back of your hand, just getting that sweat off. You look up to the sky and know it's time to head in. So picking up your tools, you place them on the wooden trolley and you drag it behind you back up to the house. It kind of creaks and the ground is uneven, but that's just because it's been dug up so many times. Hearing the crunch of the leaves and the stones under your boots now, you continue to walk to the house. Leaving your trolley just out the front, you walk up the creaky steps, 1, 2, 3, and just slip your boots off and walk inside. And the magical thing about this house is that from the kitchen, there is a long hallway. And grabbing yourself a glass of water from the kitchen now, you feel drawn to walking down this hallway. Feeling the soft ground under your feet, you walk further and further down, and it feels like it's getting deeper and deeper underground as it cools down. And at the end of this hallway, deep underground that you know, there is a beautiful purple door. You push it open. Inside this beautiful cave, the stalactites hanging from the ceiling light up with different crystals, amethyst and citrine and jade and amber hang from the roof, hang over the beautiful green pool of water. Taking off your clothes, you know that you are safe because you're here alone. You place them on a beautiful rose quartz rock next to the pool and you slide in. Knowing this magical water is here to help you let go and release. You submerge your whole body. Realizing that as you open your eyes under the water, you can breathe. And as you look down at your body, you see the small black dots. It's as if this green water, this magical pool of water, brings out the old pain points, the frustrations, the shadow side of you that you have been too scared to admit. But what you also begin to notice is they begin to dissolve. Dissolving now to nothing until it's only beautiful pink flesh. underneath. And if you don't have pink flesh, it is the colour of healthy skin. Dots dissolving again and again and again and again as they disappear, as you release these things from your life now. You feel the whoosh of energy as some really deep-seated old energies release from your body and system. Releasing all the way down your back, from your heart space, your solar plexus, from the base of your feet, your hands. These black dots just disappear. Breathing in. You look all over your body and it is healed and you glow. Reaching for the edge of this pool now, you pull yourself out and wrap yourself in the lush pink towel that has been left there for you to dry yourself. You dry off all of this green fluid, looking at your perfect body, the beautiful, supple skin, and you feel joyful. Putting your clothes back on, you push through the door and you head back up through the hallway, back into the kitchen. Sitting down at the table, you drink another big glass of water. Breathing in all of the energy of this experience. Bringing it all into today. And when you're ready, you open your eyes. How are you all feeling? So that's a place that you can go whenever you want to, whenever you feel like you want to release some stuff. When you feel some heaviness, go back to your little house and that green pool. Your green pool may manifest in a different spot. Remember, as you go through this change or these changes, you don't need to, you're allowed to set boundaries and you don't need to look after other people or rescue other people. The most important thing that you can do at the moment is be your own best friend and treat yourself like you are your own best friend. Love it. I love it that you feel light and it was lovely. Beautiful. So do things, be kind to yourself today. We're going through a big energetic shift. So do things that can make you feel, that will make you feel better. Drink lots of water, eat foods that make you feel nourished and like nourished but full. Stay away from sugar if you can. And do loving things for yourself. That might mean cancelling plans, or it might mean not cancelling plans. It might mean making them. Do things that make you feel really, really loved and nourished and cherished, because this sacred destruction, this change, this shedding of the old is going to lead you to so much beautiful magic. Thanks so much for jumping on here. If you want to redo it, I'm going to upload it to YouTube this afternoon. I love you guys. You're just magical, and thank you so much for spending your Monday afternoons with me. If you want a healing, I've got a couple of spots this week in person. If you're not in Melbourne or you want to do it over Zoom, just send me a DM on Instagram. That's probably the best way to do it, or drop me a comment here and we'll see, we'll work out a time. If you need a little bit of help, there's no shame in that. My Palawa healings are $100 until the end of the year. So if you need it to be cheaper because we've got to, spend money on Christmas stuff, then that's hopefully that's a bit more reasonable for you, or easy for you to get. It's my pleasure. Yes, go for a swim in the river. Delicious. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. Yeah, I've got time before I go and fix this. Love you so much. Have a beautiful afternoon. See ya.